What's up, everybody? Welcome back to week 4 of the CoronaCast. It's Rob and Liz here, and we are so excited that you've tuned back in. We are going to be continuing talking about just topics that we would have talked about at Fuse, but we obviously don't have the opportunity to do that because we're hashtag social distancing, hashtag coronavirus, hashtag get out of my face, 6 feet away. But what we did want to do was just continue the conversation with you guys. You guys have been navigating through some topics. Last week we finished up our mini-series called Stay Humble, where we talked about entitlement and false humility and what that looks like in our lives and in our friend groups. And now we're going to be diving into some topics that we just want to go a little bit deeper in. The first one we're going to be starting off with is the topic of community. Yeah, and I'm pumped to get to talk about this now because we have been through and are in such a time that we are forced to pull apart from each other. And so we have to kind of rethink, well, what does actual community look like? And how do I keep this going? And how do I maintain these friendships? And I know a lot of people that may have been in their senior year and they were just so excited to finish out this last semester and to have this community. And now they've kind of been pulled out of it and they've been ripped apart. And so they're going, how do I do this? How do I still maintain these friendships that I've had for so long that are so important to me? And how do I just now rethink what community looks like? Yeah, and I think so many times we get these phrases in Christian culture, but we never take time to really unpack what does that mean. So like, if you've been in church for any amount of time, you've heard community. You've heard like, you got to have a good community, a biblical community, things like that. But it's like, what does that actually mean? And what does that look like? And so today we're going to kind of walk through that. And so I want you to think about a couple of things while we're having this conversation. One, think about you and then think about your friend group. Like your specific people, what I call my friends is I call them my tribe. Like they're my tribe of people. So get those people in your mind, and then we're going to walk through some questions that I want you to ask of yourself and then also ask of your friend group. Asking, when I'm saying ask of yourself as a friend in that group, and then how does your friend group relate with you as well? So we're going to dive right in. And so the first question that I have is a really simple question, but I think it's really foundational, and it's, does your tribe, does your group of friends, does your community make you better? And so I think that that's a really important place to start. In Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 20, it says, walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and you'll get in trouble. And so it's this understanding that like the people that we surround ourselves with, the people that we do life with, the people that we associate with, they are going to influence who we are. They're going to influence our decisions. And we need to ask the question, are these people actually making me better? Are they pouring into me? Are they giving me life? Or am I associating with fools and by default becoming a fool myself? I think we also often hear the phrase like, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And sometimes it irks me, but it's also true to a degree because, again, in Proverbs, it talks about iron sharpening iron. Are your friends those that are pushing you and challenging you? And when they see behaviors that maybe don't align with what we value, they're kind of in a loving way saying, hey, what's going on here? Like this doesn't seem to align with what I know you want to live like. And people that are willing to kind of call us up, not necessarily call us out, because no one likes being called out on things, but like we love to be called up and to be made better. Or our friends, which I think is where we tend to focus, is like, oh, our friend's dragging us down. And so whenever we see, oh, my friends aren't dragging me down, they're not taking me away from Jesus, we kind of like settle. And we like plateau, and it's like, oh, they're fine, they're good. But it's like, no, like, how can I surround myself with friends that are actually challenging me and pushing me forward and pulling me up? Having those hard conversations that maybe I feel uncomfortable at times, but I kind of love it at the same time. Because what you're going to find is you're going to look around the world, and people who are outside of the Christian bubble, they have community too. And so, but as Christians, we're called to be different. We're called to live to a different standard. And so even our friend groups should live to that standard as well. In that, like what you were saying, they shouldn't just be people that don't bring us down, but they should be people that make us better and bring us up. And so it begs the question of like, do your friends encourage you? Like, do they make you better by like, they're speaking life into you. They're encouraging you. Like when you're doing things well, they're applauding those things. They're celebrating the things that should be celebrated. But then also, do they challenge you? Do they say like, hey man, I've noticed this about you. Like, what's going on here? Do they ask those harder questions like you were talking about? Do they support you? Do they pour into you? At the end of the day, the question is, are you a better human being because of the people that you hang out with? Because it's known like in life and in science that I think it's like the 5 people that you hang out with the most, you start to like do their things and act like them. Like you'll have their mannerisms. Like I've even noticed in our relationship, there's things that I do that I'm like, oh my gosh, I got that from Rob. And it's like, it's because we're around each other so much and we're hanging out with each other. And the same thing is true with your friend group as well. And it's are the things that you're picking up from other people, are they making you better?
Right.
Are they making you a better human being, or are they bringing you down? And so the question that I want you to ask first and foremost, my group of friends, do they make me better? Like, am I a better person from hanging out with them?
Yeah, and something that I tend to hear often is like, oh, you know I love you when I start to make fun of you. Or like whenever I start to like rag on you or whatever, or like pick on you and things like that. And I understand the mentality of that because you are closer, but sometimes it's frustrating me. And I'm so guilty of it too. Like I'm very guilty of that that the people that I rag on the most are the ones that I feel closer to.
Yeah.
But like my question, and based on what we're talking about, is that healthy?
Sure.
Is that really what my friendships should look like? And so often it's so much easier for us to kind of bring people down, but it's like, why is it so hard for us sometimes to be that encouraging light? Yeah. That as soon as someone does something awesome, I want to be the first person jumping on board to celebrating them. Yeah. I want to be right there. Like I want to be the person that when they get an A on the test, they call, and because they know I'm going to be just as excited about with them. Because so my best friend and my brother, he's that for me. Like I know anytime anything is crappy or anytime things are amazing, like that my first call like probably is gonna be him because I'm gonna want to tell my wife in person, but I'm gonna call Will on my way home, and be like, dude, this awesome thing happened. Like this is what's going on. He just did that to me a couple weeks ago, and he was on his way home to tell his wife something, and he called me. He was like, dude, we just found out this news, and we're so excited. That's awesome. Like having someone in your life that is willing to cry with you when you're down and you're in the dumps. But also people that are willing to just be as excited with you, I think is so valuable and so huge to see that. And those are true community, and that's like true, deeply known between each other. Yeah.
And so we asked this broad question to start off. Do they make you better? And so I kind of want to get into that a little bit more. And we've kind of touched on little aspects that we're going to get throughout this talk. But kind of the first sub-question that I have is, do your friends tell you the truth?
Yeah.
In Proverbs 17:17, it says, a friend loves at all times. And so what I know to be true is that truth without love is a lie. And so or truth without love is harsh, and then love without truth is a lie. So if I say I love you, but I'm not willing to speak truth to you, then I'm lying to you. I don't actually love you. And so I want to make sure that the people that I surround myself with, the people that I'm hanging out with, that they love me at all times. And part of that is they're going to have to tell me the truth about some things. And it's for my betterment. They're making me a better person by loving me well and by telling me the truth. And so the question that I have for you is like, are you having real friends? And with those real friends, are you having real hard conversations? Because if you're like, oh man, you guys only talk about sports, or you're just shooting the breeze, or you just only go shopping with each other, or you just do these like surface things, like they're your people that you hang out with, but they're not your people you do life with. Because if you're not willing to have a hard conversation, a tough thing of like, hey, I've seen this in you, or have you seen this in me, then like they're really probably not your friends, your tribe. And like we want to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with community that's willing to have those hard conversations with you.
Yeah, I think there's like two interesting aspects within that too. Of one, there's someone who almost every time we hang out, at the end of it, they ask like, "Hey, are there things that you've noticed in my life that I could be working on?" And so for me, it's kind of challenging too, because I have to then think and like, am I paying attention too to how they're living even? So as a friend, am I being a good friend and even noticing like, I did notice this one thing, like, and tell me more about it, and knowing how to do that in love and not in a way that's punching them in the face. But I think what's also important to know is that person's giving me permission. And so oftentimes we have friends in our lives that do notice these things, but they feel very uncomfortable doing that. And because they don't think that they have permission. And so one of the best things that I've done in some of my relationships is I've literally sat them down and be like, you have permission in my life to call me out. And not even permission, I'm asking you to call me out. I'm asking you to do these things, to hold me accountable to this. When I say this, follow up with me. And so I think giving our friends and our community that permission to do that, like knowing who to do that with, not just like, hey, everybody, open season, like, but actually going, hey, you are my trusted person. You are my trusted people, and I need that truth spoken over me and into my life. And so I'm going to give you that permission to do that, and watch how that changes a relationship too, and how it opens up the dynamic and the conversation, because now we're not just talking about things, we're talking about us. We're talking about our relationship too in that moment.
And I think just like you were saying, it elevates that friendship from just this casual place to like, no, we're actually like doing things that matter. We're doing and having like relationships and things that matter, because at the end of the day, life is real.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have real friends, you're going to have a real hard time.
Yeah.
And so just understanding that we want to make community a thing that's not just something that you do, but it's something that you're a part of, and it's a part of you. We want to make sure that, like, the reason we're asking these questions isn't so that you can, like, find out all the things that are wrong with you, but we really do want to take just having, like, oh, well, yeah, I have, like, these people that I hang out with, but, like, we don't actually do or talk about anything. Like, we want to get you to that place where it's like, when real life happens, you have real friends.
Yes.
So that when things get real hard or real great, you have real people to do that with. And kind of it's like a sub part of, okay, so do they tell you the truth? The kind of part that's like going off on that same vein of thought is, do you share real life right now?
Yeah.
So like, we talked about this earlier, and we were like, you know, a lot of people, it's like they're so willing to talk about their past. Yes. They're so willing to be like, oh, well, this is something that I struggled with before. And like, that's great. You should have people in your life that know those things about you. But like, you're a human being. So there's things going on in your life right now.
Right.
Like, your life didn't stop when your past stopped. It kept on going. And so do you have friends, like it talks about in Galatians 6, where it says that you share with each other, or in Colossians, where it talks about like you bear each other's burdens and you forgive each other. Like, you're having these conversations, you're having these real life moments where it's like, these are the things I'm struggling with, even if the thing that I'm struggling with is you.
Right.
And I'm willing to say, like, you really hurt my feelings in this, or you really frustrated me in this, or the way that you're acting in this situation is affecting me in this way. And so it's, do you share real life with people right now? Not just, oh, I can tell you about what I once did one time over there, but like, I'm not going to tell you about what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have those people that like you can have real life with right now.
Yeah. Not to call out, but I don't know if it's like a Southern thing or what it
100% is.
But it does, it's this, oh, I'm an open book. My friends, my community, they know everything about me. Yeah, they might know about you, but do they know you?
Yeah, that's good.
Do they actually know who you are? And even when you're sharing your past, are you sharing with, what did that do in your life? How did that affect you? How did that affect you emotionally, spiritually, physically, rather than just listing off, here's a timeline of my life?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people.
Sure.
But do I necessarily know them? I know about a lot of people, but I don't know if I necessarily know a lot of people, know them.
Yes.
And so in our community, asking ourselves, do my friends know me? And it does deal with, they know my past, and I say I'm this open book. I say I'm super vulnerable.
Yeah.
But then whenever you asked hard, challenging questions, do I squirm? Do I get really uncomfortable? Do I actually fight back on that? Or am I willing to dive into those with my community and go, this is what I'm dealing with now. Yeah. This is what sin I'm wrestling through in my life in this moment or in this season. And having those people, because the thing with like, we talked a lot about talking about sin, but the reason is because sin kind of thrives in darkness.
Absolutely.
And so we put it in a closet, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until we finally open the door and we go, wait, it's not that big. But in our head, it's the biggest thing in the world. Yeah. And so the sooner we can get it out and we have people around us that we know they're going to love us no matter what. Right. Even no matter what I'm dealing with now, they're going to love me and they're going to accept me. They're going to tell me truth and challenge me and push me. Yeah. But I can open up and I can let that sin actually die. Yeah. And I think you also touched on something else really important is, what are you willing to fight for? Are you willing to fight for that relationship? Because sometimes, like, say you hurt my feelings and I'm really frustrated at you, I'm just not going to talk about it. Yeah. But that's not me fighting for it. That's not me fighting for better relationship. Yeah. Those awkward, challenging conversations we have with each other, those are what build better and stronger relationships through this.
I think the part that people really start to freak out about this, like, do you share real life with people right now, is because they think they have to be an open book to everybody. Right. And so it's this understanding that we're not telling you to go stand on a street corner and tell everybody everything that you've ever done wrong. But we are telling you to get in with some people that you trust in, that you can confide in, and that you can do real life with. Yeah. I use the analogy all the time of, we all have dirty laundry. And so it's not this fact of like, I'm going to pretend like I don't have dirty clothes at my house. Right. Like, everyone, if you're wearing clothes, has dirty laundry. And so it's never living from this position of, I'm fine, I've got it all together. Right. It's this understanding of like, you're right, I do have some dirty laundry. But not everybody's going to help me fold my clothes. Yes. Because I don't trust everybody to see the intimate things or to see all of the like mess and all the like behind the scenes stuff. I only leave that for my tribe to help me fold my clothes. Yeah. So I live from this position of, I don't have it all together, and that's okay. I'm not trying to pretend like I do. But you don't need to know every single thing about me, because that's for my tribe to help me work through and to help me live through and to help me assess those things. Why? Because I trust them. I trust their insight. I trust their input. I trust them as a human. And I don't need everyone speaking everyone's opinion into things. I just need my people to kind of speak truth to me. And so don't freak out at this step thinking like, oh my gosh, they're trying to get me into the, like, tell my testimony at Fuse next time we're together. And it's like, maybe, but probably not.
Right.
Like, start with your 3 friends that, like, you've done life with since you were in kindergarten. It's like, do they actually know the things that you're walking through right now? Like, start there and see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm not sitting up on Fuse tossing my dirty laundry off to people.
Right.
Like, who wants a dirty T-shirt? Like, no, like,
right.
But I'm giving my dirty clothes. It's me and my wife. We're washing those, or a close friend. Like, I think the dirty laundry is a beautiful example because, like, if some rando person brings their stanky drawers over, I'm like, I'm not touching that. Like, I don't want to be in that.
Yeah.
But my close friends, absolutely. Your washer's broken. I'd love to do the laundry with you.
Yep.
And also because when I try to do laundry, like, I'm probably going to mess it up. When I try to clean through things in my life alone, I'm going to mess it up.
Yep.
There's more likelihood that I'm going to either dig myself a deeper hole or I'm going to go off in a wrong direction. But when there's a community of us that's actually helping to wash each other's laundry, one, how much faster is that laundry getting done?
Praise.
And then also, like, how much better is it getting done? And we're all going in the same direction. We're all helping and pushing each other forward through that.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, so another kind of, now I want to kind of take it in a little bit of a different direction, still going the same, but I think this is a question we don't ever ask, and it's an important question, and it's, do you all look the same? And so what I mean by that is, okay, we have Jesus in the Bible. By trade, he was a carpenter.
Right.
But he didn't hang out with just carpenters. In fact, none of his disciples were carpenter by trade. A lot of them were fishermen, but he also had people that were tax collectors. He had zealots. He had all these different dynamic people that he hung out with, because I think even Jesus realized, I don't need to be in this same little bubble of people who think and do life exactly like me. There is something beautiful about diverse community. And so it begs the question of, do you all think the same way? Are you all in the same place spiritually? Are you all struggling with the same things? Like, you need to, it's not bad to hang out with those people, but if that's the only influence, if that's the only people that are in your bubble, you're going to stay in that bubble for a lot longer than you need to. That sin habit, if y'all are all struggling with it, you're going to stay in it forever. And so invite people that are in different stages of life. Like, invite people into your life that aren't Christian. I know so many people that go to Fuse, and it's like, how many non-Christian friends do you have? And they're like, oh, I don't have any. I only hang out with Fuse people. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but like, there's a lost and dying world out there. How are you reaching them? How are you pouring into them if you're only hanging out with your holy huddle? And so it's, let's realize that there is something beautiful about commonalities, and there is something that brings us together, naturally brings us together with people who do and think similarly to us, but we are robbing ourselves of true community if we don't have diversity within that.
It's so good. And there's so many things in that question because we don't ask it enough. We hear it a lot when talking about leadership and teams and like team building. Like, okay, make sure you have a team that's super diverse. But we never think about it in our personal life.
Right.
We never think, okay, how am I surrounding myself with friends that think differently?
Right.
We have a common core to some degree, and we have common interests, and that's what we gather around.
Yep.
But how are they challenging and pushing me forward?
Right.
And sometimes I think we can get this misconception where it's almost a point of pride of all my friends know Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, cool, but like you said, there's a lost and dying world out there.
Yeah.
And one, for their sake, but also for our sake, because to some degree, we don't ever want to become so desensitized by the Christian bubble that we don't even know how to relate to those who don't know who Jesus is. Yeah. That we actually have no way of reaching out to them.
Right.
But I think it's also so important that whenever we are surrounded by people that are diverse, because we do grow, we are forced to. But if it's so much more comfortable for me to hang out with people that think the exact same way I do. Yep. I know how they function. I know how they behave. I know what they're going to say. And so I just become lazy.
Yep.
I can settle into those bad habits because they probably have those same bad habits. And so we're just kind of rowing that same boat and we're just going in a circle, not actually going forward.
Yeah.
But as soon as someone that challenges it gets in that boat, gets in my community, we're actually able to go forward. We're able to work on things and to be able to show those around us, hey, this is what real healthy community and love looks like.
Right.
It looks like challenging and doing real things together throughout all of that. So I think it's so important that we do have a myriad of people in our group that don't just think the same way we think, don't just love all the same things we love. If I'm constantly being told yes to every idea I have, then I need some other people in there that are willing to say, I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah.
Great, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not going to end my friendship with you.
Yeah, I think when I reflect on the people that are in my circle, the closest friends that I have are the ones that I'm able to argue with. And the ones that are like, I remember distinctly a time where I was at a friend's house, and it was probably one of the first times that we ever like raised our voices at each other, where we were like actually yelling at each other. But that is one of my closest friendships, because there was a safeness of, I don't have to see eye to eye with you on this, but I still love you, and I'm going to share my opinion with you. And whether you agree with me or not is not indicative of our friendship, but it is indicative of how close we are and how much you actually do love me. That like, you're willing to say something that hurts my feelings, and I'm willing to come back with like, no, you don't get to say that to me. Yeah. And there was this exchange that happened, but it was showing me that like, you are so different. You think so differently. You look so differently than me, but yet you're adding so much value to me because you're challenging things in me. You're making me see other parts of the world that I haven't seen. You're making me see a different perspective that I haven't seen, and that's so important. And I think like I was saying earlier, I'm really passionate about people having close friends that aren't Christian. Like, I think that you have to be careful. They can't be your end all be all. They can't be your ride or dies to an extent, because they don't believe in the same ways, but they will bring a life and a light and a perspective to your life that will actually deepen your relationship with Christ as you're trying to minister and love on them to help them see Christ. But the realness and the rawness of just they're in the world will help you, like you were saying, have this real life perspective of, the world is bigger than Fuse. The world is bigger than Ignite. The world is bigger than my small group. And if we keep shutting those people out, we keep living in this Christian bubble, in this Christian huddle, that's not actually doing anything. It's not even helping us, because we're just going on this carousel of living life, and we need someone to come in and disrupt those things, because that's what's actually going to bring in change, because diversity and things that are different, they're going to cultivate change. Yeah, and that's, maybe this is a little tangent, but that's exactly what Jesus calls us to do, is to not ride this carousel, not just to be living in the same thing. He says, go make disciples. Like, don't stay here and praise my name constantly just between the five of you. Yeah. No, go out, go make those friends, and having those friends that you can kind of like have those high intensity conversations, I'll say, maybe not arguments, but is so good. And that's something that is super valuable within Femi and I's relationship too, is the fact that we love each other, but we do not see eye to eye on things fairly often. And so we're able to have those conversations, and we learn how to better communicate with each other. We learn how to better do these things. And so having that within the community is so important as well. Having that with multiple people is just so good, and it's so sharpening. And whenever we look at the rest of Proverbs 17:17, it says, a friend loves at all times, but the other half of it is that a brother is born for times of adversity. Of like those that are like my brothers, my close-knit friends, they are the ones that are there for me in the hard times, but they're also willing to fight through those hard times, even if the hard time is us. Like, they're born for those times of adversity to be together and to knit even closer than just my everyday friends. Yeah, and I think people too can tend to freak out with this one, because there's a comfort in similar things. There's a comfort in doing things that are the same. And I just want to kind of like challenge and encourage people, like, okay, you have this group of friends. It's okay to have friends outside of that group. Like, you don't have to be this one big conglomerate of people. Like, I know in my life, I have like friends in different circles, and that's not bad. No. I think it's really healthy, because I have friends at my gym, and I have friends here at work, and I have friends outside of, like, there's different circles, and they don't all have to necessarily blend with each other. I think that there's beauty in that, but I don't think that, like, I think so many times we're like, I can only hang out with this group of people. Like, they're my tribe. I can only hang out with them. They know everything about me. You're robbing yourself of just having, and again, those people at my gym, they don't know the nitty gritty parts of my life, but they know me enough. Like, they are able to speak into some things, and I'm able to speak into some things, and we're just able to have a good time and be friends. Like, I think sometimes we also take community so seriously, where we're like, it's this really serious, ooh, I gotta do, it's like, and it's like, and that leads me into my last point of asking, do you have fun with your friends? So many times we get so bogged down with like, I gotta be having these hard conversations, and I gotta be doing like and I've gotta bring new people into my circle, and they gotta be calling out things that are in me, and are they speaking truth to me, and do they make me a better person? And we get so weighed down by it. But at the end of the day, like, do you have fun with these people that you hang out with? Or is it like all the time you're like, I cannot believe she did this. I cannot believe she did that. And it's like, if your friends are constantly bringing you down and you're constantly talking bad about them, you need new friends. Because community is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that you enjoy being a part of, that brings you life, that speaks goodness into it. And so if it's constantly like just this burden, reevaluate, because life
100%.
and community and friends, they're supposed to be fun.
Yeah. If I feel comfortable enough to like laugh, cry with you, like that's what I want in my community. I want to have those relationships where I am totally comfortable being around people and I have fun with them. And so even if some of the things that I love is just like, if we can all just watch TV and have fun together, like that to me is a level of knowing each other, because we don't have to do anything. We just love to be around each other. Like that to me is a level of like, gosh, I just love these people because I'm cool with even just being around them and not doing anything necessarily. I think also sometimes we look at our community though and we go, oh, this is it. It has to stay here. Just these six. That's it. Nobody else. It's like, no. Some of the best communities that I've ever seen or been a part of have been people that are, it's like over 30 people. And now when they all hang out, is all of them there? No. But and they're also so willing to be like, hey, you want to come to this party that my other friends are throwing? Absolutely. Come hang out with us. And they're so inclusive and inviting in. And so you touched on it quickly there of like, bringing people in and welcoming them in. But also like, do you have fun with them? Are you enjoying your time? Do you get to still have those silly moments with those people that you're calling your community? Or is it that, oh, man, I gotta go hang out with my friends and I know they're gonna have this really serious conversation with me today. Sometimes that's good, but if that's every time that you're going over to Joe's house, maybe you shouldn't go to Joe's house today. Like maybe you should go to somewhere else and go have fun with people. Go out, play disc golf, play board games, whatever it is. Like you should have those fun things with it for sure.
And ultimately, to kind of all sum all of this up, I think our community should reflect the heart of God. And so the heart of God is going to make you better. The heart of God is going to have hard conversations with you and speak truth to you. The heart of God is to know you right now as you are, whether you're in a good place or a bad place. The heart of God is to be diverse and to have different things and different aspects. God is so big and so dynamic, and the heart of God is to have fun. Like, yes, there are serious times, but I am hard-pressed to believe that every account of Jesus, he was like, we're going to have today's the miracle. We're going to make water into wine, and then there's going to be the 5,000 that we're going to feed. Like, I'm pretty sure he had fun. Like, he did life with them. And so your community should reflect your relationship with Jesus, and it should reflect the heart of God. And that's when, if you're looking through the lens of, does my relationship with Jesus and do my relationships with people, do they look similar in that, like, they both are good and bringing goodness to my life, or is there some mismatch? And that's where you can really begin to reevaluate, like, how is your community? How am I doing life with these people? Is this making me better? Is this reflecting God? And if it is, great. Now, how can you make those people better? How can you take it to the next level? How can you invite more people in? Like, the thing about community is that it's fluid, and it's always going, it's always growing, it's always dynamic. And so if you feel like, if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't need to hear this, I got a great community. I would just wanted to challenge you to like look at some things because community should always be growing. It should always be dynamic. It should always be big, alive, fun, good. God, amen. It
is fluid in the sense it changes as season goes. People come in and out of our lives. People move. Things happen. And we see that especially in college. You've got 4 years and I guarantee you, if you look back through your 4 years, you may have had a core group of friends, but your friends changed every single one of those years. And when you graduate, they're going to change again. And so realizing community is fluid. It doesn't have to be this locked down thing that we have. And so having fun with it. And I think the other challenge too is to not just look at your community and go, well, you guys aren't doing these things for me. You aren't my real community. Go, okay, but how am I being the friend? How am I doing these things for them as well? How am I being the one that's kind of setting that tone, setting that atmosphere of, hey, let's have fun, but also have those serious moments. Have those moments where we talk about what Jesus is doing in our lives. And so not just waiting for everyone else to be your perfect community, but go, no, how can I bring that? How can I be the tone setter for what I want community to be like and what I want it to look like in my life? And you briefly touched on it, but community is never going to be perfect. And if we're trying to find this perfect community, we're always going to be disappointed. And so don't look for perfection, but look for progression. Look for people that are making you better, that are growing you, and that you're doing the same with them. So Fuse, we've talked a lot about community, and so we don't want you to just take this and be like, oh, that was really good. We want you to digest this a little bit. So whether you're watching this video alone, you're watching it with your family, or you're watching it with your friends, with your community, take some time to answer through these questions.
Are we making each other better? Where
Yeah.
are some areas that I need to be more honest? Do we have fun with each other? All these kind of questions, because if we can get this right, if we can get community right when we're not actually in community,
Yeah.
when we're not actually able to gather, how beautiful will it be if we have our act together by the time we actually come back at the beginning of next semester and we're able to like go and set this campus ablaze because we are a strong foundation of people who love each other and do life well.
Yeah, what's also so beautiful about all of these things is that we don't have to be together to do these things.
That's right.
I can still challenge, have fun, be honest, and all of these things over FaceTime, via a phone call. My best friend and brother, he doesn't even live here. He lives in New Orleans. And we're probably closer than ever before. And so realizing that just because you might be at home alone right now doesn't mean you actually are alone or that you have to be alone. So taking these and going, okay, what can I do now so that, like you said, in prep for when we come back together, what can we do that is going to absolutely change campus? Because this can help change your life. When you have real good community, it absolutely will change the way you live life and how you see life in general too.
Absolutely. So take some time, answer those questions, get in community with people, figure out how you guys can make each other better, make yourselves better, and let us know how we can walk alongside you. Either comment below on the video, text us, FaceTime us, reach out to us. We want to walk alongside you guys too. We may not know all the answers, but we'd love to do life with you.
Yeah, we love you all. We'll see you next week.
See ya. Grand. There were